Hello and welcome to High or Lows, a 5th ed Dungeons & Dragons adventure set in the world of Toraz. I'm Philip Martin, your Dungeon Master, and with me is Ash Mireya.
Howdy, howdy.
Next up, we've got Lizzie McPherson.
Hey, lovelies.
After that is Daniel Fletcher.
Hello.
And then finally, tonight, we got Laurie Crawford.
Hello.
Unfortunately, Mimbo Wang is away, but he should be back next time. Previously on High or Lows, the episode began when Chuck was caught without the rest of the group as zombies were going on a rampage on the east side of the river in Homestead. Something appeared to have riled them up as they began attacking civilians and moving aggressively towards Chuck. The rest of the group had just left the shop at this time and were able to start moving towards Chuck and the rampaging zombies. Chuck immediately took to the air, using his angelic wings to try to distract and lure the group away from the civilians, while the rest of the group hoofed it over from the other side of Homestead and helped with the fray. Callum reached the horde first and was able to save a civilian with the rest of the group just behind. Brackus used his sheer presence and force of will to antagonize the zombies to draw them away from civilian areas. However, it wasn't quite enough to save everyone, as one human farmer was caught and killed by the zombies. Thistle had a heroic moment as she summoned additional druidic power to transform into a dire wolf and dominated the battle with her strength and size. And after a time, the group was able to cajole the remaining zombies. However, a second person wasn't able to escape the dangers and was also killed. Other members of the town have joined the group to subdue and control the situation. Now the group await the town's reaction to this gruesome situation.
All right. First things first. Are there any guards around?
Yeah, there's very much there's guards. There's more stout, some fighter-looking farmers and stuff, just sort of helping you guys cajole the last of these zombies. And you can all give me perception checks if you want.
14.
7.
Yeah, even with a 14, you would hear them. You hear a sort of crowd, and somewhat angry-sounding crowd coming from the east side. From the houses, they're coming from the direction of the big houses to the east.
Was they 14? Does it look like? I guess does it look like to me that there are any of those guards are high ranking or?
None of the guards at the
Yeah,
moment look particularly high ranking. They just look like the people that were able to get here on quickly, and same with the farmers. They're for now, it's just the people who were able to get here quickly. Now that things are kicking off, you don't. Yeah, with a 14, you don't see any more high ranking people.
Might just go over to one of those guards, and yeah, I'll just approach.
Yes, mister?
What you're seeing is it might not look too good. I suggest you go find Alamia.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be a few of them on their way. We're just trying to get the situation under control, but I'm sure they're on their way already.
Right, we'll wait here. We'll explain in full detail what you see here today.
All right, I'm sure they'll want to hear your explanation. Me roll. Yeah, this person doesn't hear the crowd approaching.
I'm going to probably walk up to Baracus and tap him on the shoulder and tell him there's a crowd approaching. It could very well be the one that may not like you too much.
Okay.
And
I
was just going to stand in between Baracus and where I hear the noise coming from.
Good move.
I'll approach the guard. Does this sort of thing happen a lot when you're farming zombies? And
Nope. Nothing quite like this. Every now and then one will get riled up, but not usually a whole lot of them like that. That's a bit odd. Not sure what would cause that.
I mean, who actually controls the zombies?
No one really controls them. They just they're mostly docile, and they just keep repeating a pattern. So if you can sort of get them Something like that. Anyway, they just do their thing once you get them going.
But is there somebody that does that and teaches the zombies and gets them into what you call pattern?
Yeah, the farmers.
So could they perhaps get them into a pattern of attack on a certain call? Or
Probably not quickly, but maybe. I'll never say never.
where were you last week?
Just here. I'm just pretty new guard. I'm not nothing special, nothing like that.
You don't tell zombies to attack people?
I don't really work with zombies. No. It just sort of.
Insight check.
I can give you an insight check.
Oh, an actual 19 plus 1, 20.
Yeah, this guy just seems to be, just doing his bit to, to justify his existence in this place. And he's better at using a spear and a shield than anything else. And you get the impression that this place needs a higher than average amount of people that just are ready to fight on a given notice, because it's pretty dangerous down here.
I'm assuming that Marjorie would also be on her way. We've met Alamia. She knows us, but Marjorie perhaps does not know us.
Yeah, Marjorie was off duty this afternoon, but I'm sure she'll be on her way. Probably Fine Cheek's going to get her. Okay, is there any last minute things you want to do before the crowd gets here?
Where's Chuck?
Yeah, I'm looking out for Chuck. Exactly.
You don't see him.
Goddamn kid.
Did anyone see where he darted off to?
You don't see him, and you did not.
I'm starting to think Chuck was involved with this.
Who knows? But we gotta find him soon.
As you're speaking this, the crowd approaches, just going rabble, 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 rabble. And just at the same moment, you see coming from the western side of the river, an elderly lady, in full plate, but missing a helmet, short gray hair. Looks like she's seen some combat. Have I already made you guys roll checks for this to see if you knew her?
You have. I think I was the only one that would have a chance of seeing her.
Yeah, okay.
And I think I did roll, but now that I see her, do I have any different reaction?
I'll have Ash roll, I think.
Especially given that I said Alamia when I actually meant.
Actually, all of you could roll.
What's her name?
Is this history?
Anari.
2.
I'll do you one better than that with a 1.
Yeah, okay. I don't really feel like giving you guys advantage for any particular reason. Sort of. Maybe if I could give half advantage, I would, but half advantage does not exist. Tweak?
Oh, would I know her? Yeah, I guess I could roll.
You might.
A natural 20 plus
Yeah.
6, 26. Yeah, fuck, I know her.
Now that you
I
can
bet
see
he's
this
good.
person, you remember seeing this person. Why would you have seen this person? You would have seen them in positions of power, leading large groups. Basically, as the commander of 200 people, generally speaking. So this is Marjorie McIntyre. You would have known her as Mad Marjorie McIntyre, just because of her reputation of being very hard. Generally fair though, but you know that she was celebrated in the wars. I'm not sure why you know this, but maybe you heard about it from some of the goblins. And she has put down some she would have helped put down some of the unrest out on the outer ring of virtue sometimes. But yeah, she was generally fair in there, fair-handed.
Yes, I recall my goblins friends. They would constantly go out and raid her very competent band of what do you call them, soldiers.
Yeah, soldiers, guards.
She's not one to trifle with. She will kill you. But she's supposed to be pretty fair and just.
But I can work with, you know, everyone's got their role.
All right. So you guys are having this chat as the crowd are bearing down, and you like they sort of point like they're getting up in arms, and like sort of threatening. Like they're sort of not like coming at you guys with weapons to be too threatening, but they very much like looking at you like they want you to leave. And at this point, Mad Marjorie and also so she is a human, and there's also a small gnome with also in full plate, with a sword on their back as well. They stroll over together, and says, "All right, everyone, you need to calm down. I'll get to the bottom of all this. Like, we do not need to get riled up. I think we've seen enough for today, and the situation seems to be under control now, thanks to these folk. I don't know if they were to blame, but I'll figure out whether they were. And if so, we'll figure out what to do. What are your names?"
Johnny.
I'm Callum. Then I pat Tweak on the head and say, "This is Tweak."
Very well handled. You must be Marjorie, a low bow, Baracus Sorrel. I've got my cloud on as well.
Actually, I misspoke. She wouldn't be wearing full plates today. She'd just be wearing leather, basic leathers.
Since I'm in direwolf form, I go up to her and I just sit myself in front of her in a polite and respectful way.
All right.
That's Thistle. She was pivotal in this what happened today and the defense of this town.
Right. All right. You'll have to come with us. We'll have to have a chat. We'll have to get this, calm this down. At this point, slightly older man comes out. He seems to be carrying himself quite well. He is wearing a breastplate and has a fairly nice looking sword on his side. They're a human. They're still got some color to their hair, but I'd like a fair amount of gray at this point. And he comes strolling up and he says, this will not do. We can't have outsiders coming in here and riling up the town like this. We can't have these people here. What do you have to say for yourselves?"
Well, you can't have outsiders coming in and protecting you from a group of zombies. Then you guys are really screwed.
The zombies are fine. They are not really a threat for us.
Well, why were they attacking your farmers? If I didn't step in, at least 3 of them would be dead.
That's what we want to know. The day you all arrive is the day the zombies go on the worst rampage we've ever seen. It's like,
Okay, Sherlock, put this together. Why would we arrive, attack 2 shambling thieves at the front of your place, come into your village, bathe, get up and cause terror amongst the farmers out there, causing all this strife through the zombies, only to try to protect them against the zombies and kill the zombies ourselves? Now, does that make any kind of fucking sense to you?
And no, we didn't kill the zombies per se. We tried to take as many down with non-lethal means as possible.
perhaps you're agents of Oasis trying to get into our good graces as spies. They also...
Perhaps you're an agent of Oasis.
I was one of the first people settling in this family. My parents, we settled this place together in the early days.
Yes, but can't you see how easy it is to proclaim someone else an agent? You've just done that because that's the laziest excuse.
Boy, what's your name?
Callum, I'm probably... How old is he?
He seems to be like late 50s.
So he's not
early
terribly
60s.
older than me.
Yeah.
The name's Callum, old man.
All right, Callum. Look, this place. My family built this place, and you just came here. I don't trust you, and I have no reason to trust you. From where I came, you guys brought these. I heard about the fight at the Southern Gate, so you brought these two undead things with you, and then you fought them again. It could all be part of trying to get into our good graces. And then
If-
you've been.
Why would we do that? Like, logically, why?
If you were spies.
No, if we were spies, we'd come in lesser means. We would not draw attention to ourselves.
Look, we've been traveling with Kendall for God knows how long. I mean, surely he is a trusted member amongst you people.
That hermit, he's barely ever here. I know who you speak of.
He could vouch for us, and
Look, what is your name?
My name is Gregory Belmont.
Gregory Belmont. I feel like we must retire to perhaps a council of sorts, have people of note. I'm sure you, Mr. Belmont, are one such person. And we need to talk out what has happened here. Because if you're going to call my colleague here boy, and things are going to start degrading from then, we're just going to get nowhere. We're going to start slinging things, and I've seen how those kind of fights devolve. So either we can go to the town centre, and you can take us there.
I assure you, if it would come down to a fight, my family alone would be able to wipe the floor with you.
what do you
and-
say, Mad March?
But I'd say go with Marge, and I'll allow you to investigate, Marjorie, as a sign of respect towards you. But I would request that all of you stay on that side of the river, away from our zombies in our farm.
What happens if they go berserk again? Do you want us not to help?
We'll place additional guard, and we'll be able to handle this ourselves. Thank you very much.
And thank you for saving your civilians. You forgot that part.
He doesn't say anything. He just turns to the crowd and starts gesturing them to go away.
I whisper in Callum's ear, do you want me to kill him now or later?
Later.
He looks like he knows how to swing that sword. Like he's like looks like he's been well fed and well trained down here. And some of the people in the crowd look pretty buff as well. Give me a insight or perception check as you're looking at the crowd and some of the people in there.
Who, me?
Anyone of the four of you.
24.
So there's with a
Oh,
24.
Sorry, no, 19. It's plus one, that one.
19. Okay, anyone else?
18.
Nah, nothing good here.
20.
Okay, so with the 18s and the 19s, you spot a couple of very younger people, like mid 30s, late 20s, mid to mid 30s, like individuals that look very ready to fight. And they're like got spears and shields on their back, basic armors, but they look like one-on-one they would be a very tough fight. With the 20, you spot a couple of people in the crowd with hidden hand crossbows that look like they're sort of blending into the crowd, but ready to pounce. And like they seem like they really know how to use those weapons.
Okay.
Captain Marjorie, does that man hold a high position in this town? Say this as we're kind of walking off.
Yeah. Yes, he does. He is the unofficial head of the four families from the east side of the river. The four families who are the original people that settled this area with the help of a few outsiders, but they like to claim credit for a lot of it.
And he was here since the beginning, or the founding.
He was, yes. His family was sent down here as a group in the old bad times. Before things got a little bit more civilized. All right, come with me. Let's have a chat, I suppose. We're supposed to have the afternoon off, but very well.
Well, so were we.
Yeah, I mean, we could always take a rain check and do this another time.
I think it's best we do this now. I'm sure we have more to discuss than just what happened today. I'm curious about I would like to get a report of your journey from here, from the shoot to here. How long have you been on the road? At this point, she's like sort of pushing, like past the door. So like everyone, as you're passing different guards, you see them all straighten up and sort of become a lot more alert and get better posture as she approaches.
Oh shit, boss is here. Let's stand at attention more.
Take our fingers out of our noses.
I'd probably recognize that for what it is.
Yeah, you see like one guy just like really straining to like be like super posturific.
A mutual report might prove beneficial. I agree. In fact, we're kind of missing a comrade of ours. No idea if you would have seen the young lad. Chuck is his name. If he'd given it.
I can't say that I have, but I'm more interested in you four people I can see, all of which seem to be well armed. At least some of you are well armored as well, so you've fared well on your adventure here. I hope you didn't lose too many people on the way.
Turn to Callum to whisper. That bodes well.
Yeah. Well, there were a few that passed after getting chucked down the chute, but us five seemed to stick together.
That isn't uncommon. Oftentimes, things are lying in wait for fresh victims of this.
And to answer a previous question, we've been on the march for about 5 days. Was it 5 days? Or was it 4?
I think it was 5 days. We went through the recap,
Yeah. Cool.
So you guys have been led into the main. It's like the biggest building in the center of town. There are bigger buildings on the east side of the river, but they look more like dwellings. They seem a little bit nicer and more well kept, but also guarded, but not necessarily guarded by. The guards just seem a bit different from the ones on the west side.
So can I ask, what actually got you dropped down here, Mad Marge?
After a while, I decided to stop following someone else's orders. Put it just to say that.
Is she telling me the truth?
You mean inside check?
19.
Yeah, she seems to be telling the truth. So you've been led into this building where there are basically just like basic desks, offices, locker room, like hallway, but like leading to a few different rooms. And then you're led upstairs, and she says, yes, I think we can do this in my office. I don't think I have too much to worry about from you. And I think it would be foolish of you to try anything with all my men around. I'll have a couple of people standing at the door to keep a secondary eye out, just to be safe, though.
Could you like bring some food and things like that? No, maybe. We're not exactly here against our will, are we? We're guests. Or we've been arrested by something, in which case I think you should really read my Miranda rights.
Don't really have a lot of food here, and we'll only just. I'll ask one of the junior rookies to see if they can find anything. I suppose we can get you some water. That's easy enough. We have this drink It's got a little bit more it's got a fair bit more substance to it than water. It's like a mushroom, a special mushroom that we sort of dry out and grind up, and it's sort of just this sort of thick, dark liquid that we drink.
Is it pretty much their coffee?
Yeah, yeah, you sort of look and you see a few of them just holding sort of cups of this thing, and it does have like a sort of bitter sort of smell to it when you have a look.
I'd probably thanks. I will have one of those.
I'll have one of those too.
All of you then, just get you all a cup.
If it's anything like yerba mate tea, I'll take a cup.
Yeah. You're all brought a cup by a junior, one of the other lesser guards, as you're led into the office. Actually, you get in the office first. So you get your drink soon. And she says, "All right. You look familiar," as she says while looking at Callum.
Twink lets out a sigh of relief.
But can't say that I know you. What's your name, soldier?
Callum O'Sullivan. Served in the wars. Gained these injuries thanks to it.
Yeah, I remember. I do remember serving, not with you, but I remember seeing you at some battle. I was in a different unit to you, but I knew I remembered you from somewhere. I don't really want to talk about those times, though.
Not many do.
All right, and what about you, Gnome? Are you a wizard as well? They send you down. Did they send you down here for taking something, stealing or something like that, or summoning something you shouldn't have summoned?
They put me down here because I was just messing with the wrong chemical components.
Fair enough. Okay, well, we don't get the gnomes tend to stay pretty lawful up there. We don't get a huge amount, but obviously my second in command is a gnome, but he's been down here since he was a young lad. All right, and now you, the large one. She's looking at you, Thistle.
I'll look in her direction.
What's your name? What did you do to get down here, etc.?
My name's Thistle.
Right, and what did you do to get sent down the chute?
I don't remember.
She's been having a bit of trouble with her memory ever since she landed.
And do any of you have any idea? Did she say anything?
She seems pretty normal to us. Doesn't seem like she's done anything violent or anything.
All right then. And you, Mr. Tiefling, I imagine your presence was part of why that rabble got all hied up. A lot of them remember a time when things were a lot worse up above.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time someone has prejudged me not knowing the situation, but I will forgive you for that, Captain. I understand the responsibilities on your shoulders.
It's Commander, but I'll let that slide. I'm not too fussed on title unless you're working for me.
Commander?
Yes. You should know that I command about 60 people down here. That's about 10% of everyone that lives down here, as we need to maintain a pretty high quota. Keep this place protected.
So how is it that, you commanded God knows how many people up there, and then you get thrown down a hole, start from scratch, clean slate, and you get 60 people to follow your command down here?
I never really commanded more than 200 up there. 60 seems about right. I could command more, but what's the point? Like, I also have a lot on my plate just keeping this place functioning.
I just didn't think titles would have any weight down here.
Titles may not, but skills certainly do. And leading is a skill.
And some of the people find comfort in like the titles and the hierarchy. It gives them structure to live by down here. It's not an easy life down here, but we make do.
Well, maybe you could hire us and we could get to the bottom of what happened and we could stop all wasting our time with these silly questions.
Well,
You
I
know,
wanna-
we're innocent.
I don't know that you're innocent. I don't know what is going on. I'd like to hear your report of what happened.
Do you
Please.
mind if we speak amongst ourselves privately before we have this discussion with you?
I don't see much point to, but we can, if she wants us.
On this topic, I would rather not. I would rather you spoke openly.
Well, where I come from, it's far away from here. What you would be, what your people would call a general. So you can take my word as truth. And what happened down there at that farm had little to do with us.
Yeah, we have
Those
no idea.
zombies attacked us for no reason. Now, what I want to know is how much control do you have over them, and who is in control of them?
Of the zombies?
The zombies of which you speak.
We don't know that much about the zombies, to be honest. We know that there's something to do with the mushrooms, and they come back to life. As the Walking Dead, the mushrooms sort of grow out onto them. They're, for the most part, not particularly violent, but occasionally get riled up. We're not really sure why. But they've never been on this scale before.
If you're looking for someone to verify what we were saying, we had just come out of the halfling store. And that's when we heard a ruckus happening in the farms.
Yes. And my second in command met with another new person. This Chuck, was he with you as well?
Who?
Yes, I would probably laugh at that and just say yes. Chuck is a comrade of ours. He was thrown down at the same time.
Very well. I would like to speak with him as well. I'm a bit disappointed he's not here right now, but very well.
That's a we. Well, you could have corroborated what we were saying.
Well, I don't think that you're a waste of spies. And I also don't see why you would have started that, unless you're trying to take over this place in a very odd fashion. I don't see why you would have saved our people. So for the time being, I trust you. I hope that you don't prove me wrong.
I just feel like we don't know if we can trust you yet. And forgive me for speaking honestly here, but no one else is at this meeting. You have called us in here. We have told you everything that we know. Is that all you will be needing from us today?
To be honest, we could use a solid pair of hands for a variety of things. If you want to help us, I have a couple of things that I would like your help with. One of them is much bigger than the other, but one of them you could help with right away. If you want to stay here, eventually you will need to pull your own weight, as it were, either through bringing in supplies or taking up some job.
Well, Lamia did. I'm not sure if you've heard the news from Lamia. We found bits of Orion's gear on the way here. we didn't know it was his until Candle pointed it out. We don't know. We can't say for sure he's dead, but there's a very good chance.
That is quite worrying. I was hoping he'd return. He did a lot to help this place, but it sounds like he may have perished.
We were probably after this week considering going back out to investigate what we believe might have been his campsite, to see if we can find proof that maybe if it was an Oasis thing or whatnot.
I understand why Inari would want that. That's not my priority. My priority is Oasis and reclaiming the mushroom forest. At the moment, the spiders their presence has grown too strong out there. We barely have any territory out there. It's causing a lot of pressure on supplies. So I would like if you could kill as many spiders as you can, or at least drive them out back and away from our borders.
Do you have any maps of the forest? I mean, for me, it might not be as useful, but if you could show one of these guys and say, maybe you should clear out this section, it would be useful.
We have some very basic things that we could get you, but I'm not sure how much help it'll be.
I have a map.
I'd be very like to see your map in general. In fact, I'd like to hear your reports of what's out there and where you came from and how things are. When you came down the chute, were you attacked immediately or?
Immediately, but it was by kobolds.
Just kobolds?
Kobolds and initially just kobolds and rats, but then a big gelatinous cube came at us, and that's where we found Orion's armor.
Well, that's not good.
No. And not long after that, we hunkered down into an offshoot quite close to the chute, and we were attacked by Oasis.
That sounds like they're becoming more brazen then.
Well, it's not the last time we dealt with them as well. After that, we decided to maybe investigate some of the kobolds, and we ran into Candle, and he told us about Oasis and Homestead and everything like that. So he helped us get back to Homestead, but we ended up running into them one more time, Oasis that is, while we were staying at there was this weird undead goblin guy. I don't know if you've run into him in the mushroom forest.
No, can't say we have.
He seemed to command multiple zombies around him. But we took him out, and then Oasis found us in the night again, and we managed to escape down a river.
Interesting. Were they also mushroom zombies, or the more traditional kind?
They were traditional, weren't they? Or were they mushroom?
Can't remember if you checked.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't particularly check, but they did seem violent.
Interesting. Doesn't sound like our kind of zombies.
Though, if we're talking about the forest zombies, the mushroom forest zombies, they were held in check. They were held in check by a till necromancer or something, some creature.
Yeah, well, my concern is that the spiders have overtaken the mushroom forest, and if new people can't get through, and they're either falling under Oasis's sway or being killed by the spiders and turned into zombies and falling under Oasis's sway that way, eventually we will lose this war and they will come for us en masse. You can make the zombies be violent if you try hard enough. It's a risky operation, though.
You do seem concerned about Oasis. Have they done anything recently that has you on edge?
Well, it sounds like they may have killed Orion, potentially. So I can't see you.
Do you know how many people they have at Oasis? I mean, you just mentioned you have an army of 60. I mean, that's quite large down here. Surely you could just take and move on Oasis and stop them from raiding all the time. Surely they're an inferior, smaller group.
Well, I have about 60 under my command, but for the most part, they're not. A lot of them are not particularly well trained fighters. They know how to handle a spear and shield, but beyond that,
How many do you think Oasis would have, though? I mean, surely not 60 people.
reports from Oasis have been sketchy. They actually haven't been around for all that long, but we know that they have an alliance with the spiders somehow. And we suspect that's through their leader, but we don't know a lot about them. Ideally, I would like the four of you to try to scout out Oasis and either deal with them or come back with a report so we could come back with a plan. They should be no more than we think we know where they are. I can mark it on the map.
That sounds like a very hard and dangerous and expensive mission.
We can give you some supplies.
What do you mean by deal with them? Are you talking about destroy their whole township?
No, I don't want you to commit genocide against the people, but their leader, from what I gather, has instituted some form of cannibalism. And I'm concerned about the long-term effects that would have on their people.
I'd imagine that a lot of the people that are with Oasis don't really follow them. They're more forced to follow them.
Yes, I also believe that with their alliance with the spiders, they can basically cut us off from new people, and eventually, if we cannot expand that way, we will be fully overwhelmed by them.
So how might you suggest that we emancipate these people?
Well, there's either you're new down here, you could attempt to say that you didn't like it at Homestead and you wanted to see if you could be more respected in another place, and try to deceive them and go about it that way. Or you could just go into the forest and kill as many spiders as you can, and that will eventually get their attention and they will respond one way or another.
I mean, I get the feeling that these spiders would be hostile, even if they weren't controlled by Oasis.
Most of them would, but they would be, I imagine they'd be less organized.
So why would we spend all our resources on killing these spiders then?
For the good of the people here, as I said, we can give you some resources to help you on your way. And I'm sure we could rustle up some sort of a reward. We do have some nicer things down here that we've found or were smuggled down here.
Don't you want to get a bit of vengeance on that spider that poisoned you?
Yes. I know he died from that, you know.
You still got the scars to prove it.
In fact, I think I did die from that.
Yes, technically you did.
Well, technically, not technically, I think.
Yeah.
They're saving throws.
Death has a different meaning in this place.
I'm told that you came through the southern entrance. It's rare that we have people coming down the southern entrance. We know that there are we know that the undead that are in that term are a little bit more hostile, and we're not necessarily and are untrained, so we're a bit wary. And we also had heard tale of some bigger things that weren't the humanoid type that we wanted to be abreast of. And we were also always on guard from harpies.
Yep, they're all still down there. We dealt with a few harpies, and there were hundreds of undead. We managed to lose them, luckily, towards the end, but those shambling mounds must have been the last of them.
Had you seen any activity right before you get to the dwarven mines proper? Like about a midway point, there's a ramp, a tunnel going downwards towards water. Did you remember if you saw any activity around from there?
Can I get an insight check?
Yeah.
From memory, did we see that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm avoiding saying now. That's where we saw. I probably shouldn't say it, right?
Oh no, but I mean, what did we actually see there? I'm just trying to remember as a player.
Fish footprints.
You can give me an insight check there, absolutely. You don't give me an insight check. Give me a. I mean, it wasn't that. It was only 3 days ago. Yeah, there was. That was where. That was where. Thistle got her staff.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
Natural 20.
Yeah, though she's generally trying to get scouting reports of what's going on in the southern tunnels. It doesn't sound like. It sounds like the reporters probably haven't been very. It probably hasn't sent a lot of people down there because they were sort of marked as a bit dangerous.
She's just trying to get the most information she can to protect her people.
Yeah. Yeah, seems to just be trying to get information about what's going on at the borders of this place.
We saw footprints leading down and away and into that water. And possible evidence that these might have been. We're not sure because I don't think any of us have seen them yet. But people that live amongst the water.
And there was a whole pile of gear that they left up there, so presumably maybe some of them died.
And potentially trying to set traps for wayward travelers such as ourselves, but didn't catch us.
So I imagine some of those would be your traps.
Yes. Well, that's another thing I wouldn't mind you doing, setting more traps down that way. Did you leave the traps intact or did you disarm them?
I think one was tripped. Yeah, no, actually, I think we disarmed the majority, didn't we? But yeah, one was tripped. Took out a fair few zombies, so it was at least useful.
A few we did leave though, and we did walk around.
And the harpies, how were you able to get past them?
Barely.
Wit.
Two of us were enamored by them and almost ran off the edge of the cliff, but luckily, we pulled through. We tied a rope around all of our waists and stuck together, so if one fell, we could pull them back up.
But I am to believe that you did kill some of their number.
We killed some of their number, but I'm not sure if you know, but there's quite a nest, potentially multiple nests there, and even for our strong force, a bit of a handful.
Yeah, well, it just interests me that you came that way. But I'll have to talk about that another time, I suppose.
Which way would we have gone otherwise?
Most people would arrive from the western entrance, or perhaps through the Tiefling Quarter, who have their own entrances, but they're further down below.
Well, we could certainly expand Homestead for you and help in that way. If we push out slowly, we could rid ourselves of some of the other pests around. Those banshees, I was jonesing to light up their nests.
I'm not sure committing an act of war against them would be the wisest thing, but
You control 60 soldiers, and you're worried about acts of war?
I wouldn't call them soldiers.
I think sometimes you need to attack to defend. Preemptive strike, straight to the heart.
A lot of these soldiers she has under her command, they'd be great at defending because they're defending their livelihood. But the rest, like attacking, that's a whole different aspect. You need to be trained for this.
War is another thing entirely.
Yes, and the war will get them trained. I mean, if we can find things around us, that's going to get them prepared, and it'll separate the wheat from the chaff.
Then the weak will die, and they'll just be bleeding numbers.
Yes,
They
they'll
don't have
stronger
the
numbers.
they don't have the numbers here to do that. You need thousands to be able to do that.
Well, there might be other potential allies down here, but I feel like it's a long shot. We just don't know where they are. To be fair, we know where one of them are, and they're not our enemy per se, but they're not our friends either.
But you're also struggling to feed the population. Send them to war, get the ones that are good at defending themselves and defending the place. They're a better asset in the long run. And you'll have to feed less people.
We're
It's a win-win.
we're doing okay on the food front. We're not. It's more supplies for expansion are harder to come by.
I think my friend here's Tweak. The frustration he's having is we can do this, but we will need supplies if we're to go out and face this front. I know that supplies for you are tight, and we have been to the orphanage in town, and we understand how hard you people are doing it. But understand that we will need something if we're to strike out of there.
We can arrange for you to get some resupplied up before you leave, depending on what you choose to do and what your needs are. It will be mostly the basic supplies we have access to. Perhaps we can find a specialty item if you need such a thing. We do have access. We are not without some resources, and as I said, we do have some magical items around, and we may be able to get a hold of as rewards for some of these tasks. Maybe able to get Shognak to make up a few potions as well. I'm not proposing you leave today or even necessarily tomorrow, but I do suspect it would be better for your benefit as well for you to leave this place and do a service for us that will ingratiate you towards the east denizens of our town.
Well, I mean, where would you like us to start? And what is the reward for our achievements?
I mean, you could start by simply killing spiders if that was what you want to do, or you could go back into the mines and reset traps, or set additional traps to give us more protection.
So why can't we have the option of staying around, loafing around, doing nothing in the village and being fed and safe, while everyone else does all the work? It seems like an option that a lot of people have taken in the town.
No. Everyone works here, mate. Like, if you just look around, all the farmers are doing their farming. We're not farmers. As you would know, we're quite capable of taking out the spiders.
Even the children work when harvest time comes. Everyone works to some degree. That's why a lot of people without any farming ability come to me, and why a lot of my guards aren't the sharpest tools in the shed.
Maybe you should just start on those nests. I mean, they're like right outside your place.
Oh, there's more between them and that. There's all those zombies and.
I assure you the spiders are more pressing than the harpies.
Well, I take it you build all of your things out of mushroom wood.
Indeed.
So, yes, it does sound like the spiders are the most pressing matter. I'm not going to speak for the rest of them, but I'm happy to assist in that matter.
I continue up with Bandan. He spends a lot of time out there. He's our main lumberjack and scout.
I think Tweak here would like to meet with him. We've been told he's a bit of an engineer.
Bandan? Not so much. Do you mean Shognak?
Oh, yeah, it was Sognak, sorry.
Shognak sort of like, he's the smartest man around town, really. Knows the most magic, has the most books, knows how to make some potions.
He was the smartest man around town. Well, I'd like to meet him.
I'm sure that can be arranged. But yes, if you let me know if you're ready, if you want a guide into the Mushroom Forest, and I can arrange Bandan to accompany you, I'm sure.
So you pretty much have the west under control then. I mean, you said that a lot of people come from the west usually because it's less tumultuous.
Traditionally, not recently because of the spider's presence. Orion was generally able to fetch some people back, but now that he passed, and haven't heard anything from his group either, so we would have lost some very good people on that day.
All right, well, I suppose we've got some spiders to kill.
Well,
Cool.
if you can excuse us, I think it's time for us to relax a little bit. As you can probably guess, it's been a tough 5 days, and we're overdue a rest in a nice, comfy bed.
I can appreciate that. We all remember our time on the road before coming here. It's not something easily forgotten. Come find one of my guards and let them know. If you can't find me or find Cheek, you'll recognize him. He's the gnome wearing a lot of armor. If you can find us, great. Will let us know what you need. Otherwise, just one of my men or soldiers, people.
Perhaps we could make some moves onto these spiders in the future and push them back. But I think we need to set up something like a fort to leave behind and maybe garrison that fort to take more control into these areas. Because if we leave, they're just going to come back in and set up shop again.
Perhaps there are some forward camps. They were never really fortified to that extent, but there are some camps that we lost out there. Some lumbering camps. If you could
Yeah.
reclaim those, that'd be a place to start.
You can reclaim, but you'll have to fortify the garrison again.
I think we would need your group to reclaim the territory and some of the other territory around there. Then we can support you in that endeavor, perhaps.
Well, we can't keep control of everything. We're only a small band of people. We have to reinforce and garrison them once we take them over. I mean, this is strategy of war 101. I thought you'd be good at this, Mad March.
They've only got 60 people. That's not that many.
Yes, but you want us to control to clean out these forts, reclaim them, and then move on to another one, and reclaim how many before they start?
There's really only 3 lumbering camps out there.
It'll be hard to hold 3. We would need reinforcements, at least garrisoning the first camp.
I believe if you were to force back the spiders, that we could hold maybe 1, maybe 2 of those camps, but we would be stretched somewhat thin if we were to do 2. We can hold you, but I think you will need to go and come claim it and report back. With what happened on the eastern side with the zombies today, I don't think we can spare it for right now. But maybe in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, so maybe we can clear it and then we can find the most tactical one to garrison.
But it wasn't until recently that the spiders became this aggressive. They never.
So you want us to cut the head off the snake without actually taking any land back? I mean, that's essentially... I mean, if we can get to the root of the cause, that would help you tremendously. But we don't know where the root of the cause is. We don't know who it is. We don't know how hard we'll have to fight to get it. Or if we'll survive even to get there. But what we do know is there's a bunch of creatures out there that could be pushed back, and we could reclaim that land until we can push further in and get to the root of the cause. Hopefully, by the time your armies are stretched too thin, we could cut the head off the snake, so to speak, and, well, we could reclaim the whole place. And the spiders will just back off.
Look, that's the ideal situation. And if we were to merge with because I am certain that a lot of the people of Oasis are good people and are just there because of the way that things have gone down. And if we could get those people to come join us, or even set them up with a more peaceful setup and teach them how to live down here, a lot of them wouldn't have seen that stability can be achieved. Not easily, though.
Well, it sounds like killing a few spiders will take the pressure off here and give you a chance to get more lumber and supplies. and then maybe after that we can move on to the, as you say, tweak the head of the problem, which would almost certainly be this Oasis leader.
We don't know what we're running into with Oasis.
We
That's
don't.
why taking out these spiders in the first wave will give us breathing room and time to find out what they are about.
And put us in a little bit of better. Well, I think the farmers will like us a bit more afterwards if we can prove we're here to help them.
It may take a little while to win over the leadership, but if you can win over the common people, eventually they'll have to fall in line.
Well, it's the common people we saved back there. They saw us defending them.
I'm sure the ones that you specifically saved would be very appreciative of your efforts, but the ones that lost fathers and brothers and sisters, I'm sure they're less appreciative.
They'd just be looking for someone to blame.
Can you blame them for that?
No.
We've all lost people. Look, I won't keep you. I'll let you go. Try to get you some enjoyment. I heard the band is playing tonight. I'm sure it'll be a bit of a subdued affair after what's happened today, but I'm sure you wouldn't mind a little bit of entertainment after being on the road for 5 days.
Better than nothing, that's for sure.
As I say, let one of my people will know if you need anything in particular for your trip, and then we'll see what can be done.
I think just sit down with this, what was his name? The second most intelligent person in the village?
Until you leave, of course.
Shognak Limebone. He's a gnome, but darker skinned than you.
I should arrange a meeting with him. You can get me into a room with him and a group. Perhaps he could be useful.
He might be at the tavern tonight. He might be keeping to himself after the events of today. I'm not sure. He often will just be there. He's a relatively quiet individual.
All right, well, I'll be dismissed then.
You were dismissed a minute ago. And you kept on asking questions. Yes, you're free to leave.
Well, thank you, Commander. I'm sure we'll see each other once again.
I'm sure we will. And with that, you're led outside of the building, and you can head over to the tavern if you want. But I think we'll actually end the episode there. It feels like a natural cutoff point. And we'll see what happens next time. That's it for this episode of the High or Lows podcast. If you'd like to get in touch, you can find us on Twitter at High or Lows with underscores between the words, or you can find me at Feebster.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed listening, please leave us a 5-star rating and review, which is one of the best ways you can support us. You can also join the discussion on our Reddit and Facebook pages, or even our Discord server, and maybe play some games with us. Links can be found in the description below. Special thanks to Sirenscape for the background audio and Alex McPherson for providing the opening theme. I hope you can all join us next time as we continue on our adventure.